Hey, good morning everyone and welcome to the day 2 update for the SRS Guardian. You cannot see me because of all my specters, but the character is here. Here, there we go. I put on some NTX, I bought the Kirek Vault Pass thingy and equipped myself with all of the new stuff. I think it looks quite nice. Plus some other things I got from mystery boxes. So, where am I currently? I am level 97. I'm actually relatively close to 98. So, 6 more bars. And I'm still not dying. And I'm especially not dying anymore. So, that is going very, very smoothly. I think last time I had 12 deaths. This time I have 15. So, I died only 3 times since the last recording. Level 97, 4.5k life. That is very similar to what I had before. However, I am way more tanky. 80% all res. The chaos res dropped a little bit to 64. That is kind of okay. Attack and spell block. If I attack and do this, 68, 70. It is not where I really want it entirely, to be perfectly honest. But whenever I will find a Rumi's concoction, this will be solved. And you will find that thing at some point in time, I'm sure. Everything else hasn't really changed either. I have a little bit of poison avoidance. And that is about it. Yeah, that is about it. At least for the stats. Then I think let's go over my gear. I have managed to get a +1 minion wand. Simply from ground loot. So this just dropped and I did a 1 exalt slam with all frame crafting and then I crafted the trigger wand just before I did that. Decent wand, could be better, but for now pretty decent. A +1 minion helmet, this is the last time, I had this last time as well, but I've now put implicits on it, so minion life and fist damage taken as. Shield, also +1. That is about the only thing that is on there, right? The level 1 convocation is nice, so that saves me 2 slots actually. Don't have to automate it anymore. And the +1 minion is of course great, but otherwise there's very little on here, right? Also that explains kind of my lower block chance. If I can get a shield with some more block chance and the +1 minion, that would already save quite a bit. I decided to craft fist damage reduction. I could of course also kept my chaos res, but I feel if I'm dying at all, it is typically due to physical. Then, amulet hasn't really changed much. Just a bunch of attributes and block attack damage. That's good, right? Clearly. 2 rings. I think both of these... now, one of these, this one is from Ritual or from the map runners, which I also have started doing. The map runners. And the other one is still there from... a mercenary. Then my pride and joy, my sacred chainmail, which I farmed 1500 fusings for by basically simply just mapping and having these drop a couple at a time, like 10, 15, 20 at a time in the map. Also by finding some of the other 6 links. So I found a decent way to do this is just corrupt strongboxes and then just juice your maps. You will get there. Also, the new league mechanic is not bad for a bunch of currency, by the way. So, I managed to do this. How did I get this thing? I think I just dropped it as a regular sacred chainmail. I slammed some essences on it until I had something nice like this. And I then bench crafted the armor and energy shield. And then I'm pretty sure I just had like 1 open suffix, which I did with all flame crafting. I think that is basically what I've done. So, very nice outcome, I would say. I mean, 2800 armor, 610 energy shield. Just amazing, really. +1 maximum res and 10 fist taken as. So it makes me incredibly tanky. The gloves, don't think they changed much, but a lot of dexterity on there, which is something I need. The cold exposure is very optional, but you know, I'm sure it helps a little bit. And some minion deal damage. And then my boots, I don't think changed since last time. So it's just got good resistances, good life, nothing special. And still the Stygian Vice 98%. I found another Stygian Vice from the map runners over here. A 97% Stygian Vice. So I guess that's another way to get one. And this isn't the first time this has happened. Flasks haven't changed. So that is the gear. Now, because I have very decent pieces, I think these are almost all max quality pieces except the boots. So the boots are up for a bit of an upgrade still. But otherwise, these provide a ton of armor and energy shield. I'm not sure I can see my armor here somewhere. Surely I can. So armor 12,000, evasion 8,000, because I still have a Spectre that gives me grace, right? So that means that if I hit my flasks, right, I get 19k armor and 15k evasion, which is really quite decent, honestly. And that's without any shrine buffs or anything like that, right? So very good, I would say. Definitely helps. As you probably noticed, the only thing I set up in Games March is my map runners. So they've been running all maps through the night, and they didn't die, which is always nice. So I do set up my map runners. You find plenty of gold, especially in new league mechanics. So I suggest at least you do map runners, and then anything else you want to do, be my guest, right? But this build doesn't really need tattoos or rune graphs or any of those things. So I don't bother with shipping, farming, mining, any of those things. I just have map runners, and then it's also quite affordable, I would say. Alright, now that we're here, time to talk about the passive tree, because even though it is technically, I suppose, day 2, I have made a lot of progress because I was able to play all day yesterday. That's not true for today. I have to work in a few hours, but yesterday I was able to work basically all day, play all day. And because of my gear, which is now quite decent, I already made the swap to my mind over matter setup. So I already have mind over matter, meaning that I don't only have 4.5k life, I also have 3.1k energy shield that serves as a life bar. Because 40% of damage is taken from mana before life, which means this energy shield. I then took Wicked Ward, so that the recharge isn't interrupted by damage. And that is it for now, for the most part. So I will ultimately also take Divine Shield. And one of the things that you can do if all your pieces are armor and evasion is take this Mastery, 100% increased armor and energy shield from equipped body armor. If equipped helmet, gloves and bows all have armor and energy shield, which in my case they do. So this is really quite nice, I would say. And these two nodes are quite good as well. So yeah, that is what I have been doing. And it just makes you incredibly tanky. Now, in an ideal world, I get some energy shield regain on block or something, right? From a shaper shield. So if I either find a shaper orb or I find an ivory spirit shield or any of the spirit shields, which are shaper shields, then I can regain some ES on block. Yeah, then we are completely in business. But you know, until that time, this is more than enough for tier 16. I can probably comfortably do tier 17s at this point as well, but I just don't want to. There's no real need. I managed to find, after many safe houses, Katarina, so I also have my Umbral army, meaning time of need is now gone, and I spec'd into Umbral army, so this is a lot of attack and cast speed, which is really quite nice. So that is it for the passive tree. So this is already very close to my character that I had last league, but then on day 2 for some reason. Spectres have changed slightly. I now have a hulking miscreation, so this guy buffs my SRS, he buffs constructs. I still have the bird, the thunderbird for the grace aura, and I have a forest warrior in here somewhere who provides onslaught to me and my party. And then we have the animated guardian, also a few updates. I still have a dying breath, a leer cast, and a wake of destruction. However, I also have found this from the map runners actually, I think, or from Ritual, one of the two. And you can craft this. You can apply an additional curse. This is a super easy craft. You just go to your Horde crafting. You do a caster mod, and then there are only two options. I think it is spell crit and it is this one. So I don't know the weighting, but within 4 tries, and they cost like 75 choose east, you have this thing, right? This is super easy. So, and then the last thing I have is the gloves. I found also Astanas Gentle Touch. This means that because now he can do an extra curse, my animate guardian will curse enemies with temporal chains and then explode everyone, right? Enemies killed near corpses affected by your curses explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. So this guy explodes everything, and because of that, my clear in maps is great, and because of that, I don't need melee splash anymore. I will now only be running multi-strike, so my single target DPS is great, and also my clear is great, because all that needs to happen is there needs to be a corpse that is still cursed with temporal chains, and then anything killed around that corpse will simply explode. Whether it is killed by my animated guardian or not, that doesn't matter. So now I'm permanently running multi-strike, no more swapping gems. This is amazing. Another thing I've done is I have crafted all of my abyss jewels with the ducats. So now these have all 5 mods and are corrupted. That goes for every single abyss jewel in my outfit. So that is huge, right? That's huge. Here's another one, and here's another one. They still got a source of blind. They still got a source of taunt. So we are completely fine there. Got my stone golem because I feel I have enough chaos resistance currently. So I'm not gonna go for a chaos golem. I will take a stone golem. Those are all the changes in the setup, I'm pretty sure. The tree, this is just a generic sort of juice tree. I'm still running ritual, and I'm running strong boxes. I've done Maven boss rushing as well, because if you go to my atlas, it is completed. So I got everything, and I've also managed to get the 4 void stones. So this has all been quite smooth as well. Plus, I have tried to get several of these anomaly maps. I haven't actually visited all of these either. Right, I have Syndicate Hideout. I have, here's nothing, but here you get a heist a lot of the times. So I'll run a map over here. I'll run like a Jungle Valley or something. And then here I have Uncharted Expedition. I haven't actually entered these, so that's going to be something for later. But yeah, I'm just running 20 maps and that's it. So today I will show you a map. I will not show you the league mechanic. I did learn a thing or two about the league mechanic as well, but I think I may talk about that in a day or two. Alright. I think that is everything. I don't think I missed much. I got half of the Maven invitations done as well, and I'm working on some of the others, right? So, yeah. Pretty happy with all of this. So that means that I'll slot in a map. Let's do Jungle Valley, which is over here this day. I'll get a relatively juicy map, 98%. So with Searing Exarch and then the tree that you just saw, Ritual and Exarch. Let's zoom out so you guys can actually see something, and then take this thing. You can see that like everything just explodes, right? Don't have to worry too much about it. And also single target is now great because I have multi-strike that I'm constantly running. I've put both haste and Val haste in my outfit too, so every now and then my Val haste is charged, which I then will just manually press. So in that sense, it is currently a 2-button build, you could say. I'm just running around pressing SRS, and otherwise not. Let me get rid at least of the cheating, the cheating shrine. I have a lot of shrines in this map. I just decided to put in a bunch of shrine scarabs, but I think for a fair showcase, that is not amazing. But you can tell that like I can just stand here. Nothing is gonna kill me in a tier 16 map, pretty much, unless you maybe get like 15 ritual balls and they all come to you and sort of all hit you. But I take so little damage, and I'm so tanky as well. I'm pretty sure I can tank that too. Maybe we'll get to see it. I also have the Nico tech, right? So fueled with energy, I think it's called, or something like that. Packed with energy, maybe. Some special shrines. Yeah, but that was the Solaris beam, which just didn't do much to me at all. And of course, these shrines are making me incredibly tanky, but I think you can, even without the shrines, you can probably see that the build is doing quite well, right? Alright, we can talk to this guy. Now, if there isn't something that I really like from them, I'm not gonna bother, right? Because I don't care about this amount of currency, and I really don't care that he joins me for the rest of the map. So that is not something that I typically do. But they do have occasionally gear that I would say is worth it. It can be quite nice. Of course, the guys. I will every now and then do these, right? So chart a bunch of maps. I also realized that there are in fact special things, like special charts that you can then put into a voyage, and that way also get those special rewards. I have gotten the achievement for basically charting every type of different chart, I suppose, or you know, domain or biome. So that's kind of cool. I actually defeated the boss as well, the new boss with like the big water snake that you also saw in the trailer. Yeah, the only new boss the other new boss that I still need to defeat is like the abyss guy. And from the looks of it, I think you need 2 items from Katarina. So it's going to be a bit of a grind, because first you need to kill Katarina twice. And then at least you need 2 items for that. And maybe even more. So this was the map showcase. Let's see if Ritual gets me anything. A lot of fractured gear. I'm still fishing for corpses. You can occasionally get some other stuff too. Like, for example, 3 black oils is actually pretty good. But otherwise not much is there, which is kind of fine. I think I'll take Chaos, Wisdom Scrolls, and then just call it a day. So yeah, that is where I am currently. Hope you enjoyed the update. Hope you guys have a great time as well. Have a good time, and talk to you later. Alright guys, bye bye.